today's AMA session featuring FUNToken, My Lovely Planet, and Infinity Games. The focus of today's AMA sessions will be the exciting world of Web3 gaming, where blockchain technology is transforming how games are played, owned, and monetized. Each of our guests' projects brings a unique perspective to the space, from decentralized gaming ecosystems to NFT integration and sustainability efforts. So, without further ado, I'd like to start us off with brief introductions. Please introduce yourselves and your respective projects, explaining how they contribute to the Web3 gaming space. I give the floor to you guys now.
Would you like to go first?
Amazing. Yes, absolutely. No problem. So thank you very much, Marco. And it's really great to be with you guys, to be here. So hello, Lovely King. So yeah, My Lovely Planet. So we are a Web3 mobile game that have one mission is to protect the environment, to plant 1 billion trees, to clean up 1 million tons of waste from the ocean, and to help protect biodiversity. So the idea is very simple. It's a casual game, match-3 casual game. And when you plant trees in the game, we plant trees in the real world, thanks to the money generated from the game. And we are using Web3 to enhance the experience from the players. So we have a token, and the idea is that the token will be integrated in the game by the end of 2024. And it's going to be the main currency of the game. So everything you can do on the game, you will be able to do it with the token, and you will be also able to earn some token through the game.
If I may, before I introduce myself, I believe Ante is from Infinity is trying to join.
Yes. Let me.
I thought that we were missing someone. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Hi,
hello, Ante.
Hello.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to have you here.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Ante? Because we're on this and your project.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, so I'm Ante Medic. I'm co-founder of Infinity Games. We are a Web3 gaming interoperability ecosystem. We have already developed a blockchain protocol that allows the interoperability on the blockchain layer, and now we are developing a platform which will allow the interoperability on the application layer. For the past 2.5 years, we have been building a flagship game of the whole ecosystem called Infinity Heroes. It is a Web3 card collection auto chess. For several months, it's been in the open beta stage. Our recent partners are Elixir Games, so Infinity Heroes is live in their launcher. You can seamlessly log in with Elixir credentials, complete our quests, and be rewarded through the Elixir Games ecosystem. And also from the last week, we partnered with GGEM, another Web3 launcher, and currently we have a season campaign with their community. So basically, you are playing Infinity Heroes, conquering the leaderboard, and you will get rewards with GGEM tokens, with USDT, and also our in-game rewards like in-game gold and assets. Our goal with ecosystem is to create a platform where graphical models, digital assets from the single game is shared across different games in the ecosystem. We want to provide developers a faster development time through shared graphical models. Also, we want to offer them growth with a shared user base and logistical support, mainly through our upcoming Infinity. That is shortly about us.
Okay, thank you very much. David, would you like to proceed?
Sure. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm the CEO of FUNToken. FUNToken is actually a conglomerate of multiple projects in the Web3 space. It is an OG token that was launched in 2017. And it was really the first gamify and / gamblify community in Web3. It was a AAA token at the time and very quickly launched in major exchanges like Binance, and it's still on Binance and Gate. And since then, it has been used in major casinos like Dplay Casino and freebitco.in. But we're also expanding the utility into gamify. We're building a game browser called FunHub. And we're also creating casual games for our community, raffle games, Telegram mini apps, etc. Basically expanding the utility of the token, at the same time creating partnerships with different and interesting games like My Lovely Planet and Infinity Games. Very exciting startups, and basically working to build an interesting and varied GameFi ecosystem. So it's great to be here with you.
Okay, thank you very
Nice.
much for the introductions, guys. And Ante, it's great to have you here because the next question that I have is coming to you. So, what steps is Infinity Games taking to expand the reach of Web3 gaming to more casual and non-crypto gamers?
Okay, so when we started creating game design for the Infinity Heroes, one of our first goals was to create an environment in the game so that users actually doesn't know that they are playing a Web3 game. At that time, it wasn't actually a name for it. Later on conferences, I heard it was calling 2.5 games. That terminology may be Web 2.5. The terminology may be a little bit confusing for the users, but the main idea is to have a classical, let's call it Web 2 game, where users can onboard on the blockchain at any pace, at any time they want. But for the actually, if the question is how can we onboard Web 2 users, I think that currently we are on a great path with different community engagements platforms who are actually onboarding seamlessly, trying to onboard seamlessly Web 2 users to the Web 3. Of course, approach in the game is one thing. It is helping for Web 2 users to transition in the Web 3 environment, but also with big campaigns and the big platforms. I would like to mention here GG3, also one of our partner, who basically have an ecosystem. When you are playing, it doesn't matter which game you are playing. It can be Counter-Strike or any other classical Web 2 game, but you have been awarded for your achievements in those kind of games. So that is also great approach of onboarding Web 2 users.
Okay, so now Clement, My Lovely Planet's focus on environmental impact is quite unique. How do you integrate this theme with blockchain technology and gaming?
So, very interesting question. So the idea, we are a mission-driven company. So as I said, like we want to plant 1 billion trees, and the Web3 technology is really helping us reaching that goal quicker and better. So why is that? Is first of all, because there is, of course, the transparency, traceability of everything we do in the real world. The idea is to put that on the blockchain so that, there is when you are doing this kind of work with NGOs, because we're working with partner NGOs, for example, in Madagascar, with our reforestation projects, there is a question of transparency, there is a question of traceability, to make sure that every tree we say we plant, we are actually planted. So that's the first thing. The second thing also is enhancing the player experience through our games. So we want to do a very casual game. Our market is really casual mobile players. So it's mass market. And the idea is that if you want, you can also use the token in game. So of course, doing any in-app purchase in game with the token, but you can also have specific live ops with the tokens. Through the tokens, you can access specific gameplay, specific levels, specific live ops. And the third thing, of course, is also because we have 28% of the total supply, which is towards an environmental treasury, which is put in an environmental treasury that will be used to also finance social and environmental projects such as reforestation, but it can be also depollution of the oceans, removing waste. It can be all sorts of environmental actions, and it will be managed by a DAO from our community. So the idea is to create one of the biggest fund for environmental protection thanks to Web3 with one of the biggest community for environmental protection. That's our main two goals.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. So now a question for David to start things off. David, how do the recently launched raffle program and Telegram games help engage users and add value to your ecosystem?
Right. So I think when we're talking about FUNToken, because it's a very old project, right? So it's a 2017 in the Web3 is almost like 100 years. The reality is we've had platform development dormancy for a very long time. It's a valuable token that can be used in OTC and is used by TradFi on Ethereum. However, when we're actually looking at our community, it's very difficult to develop a community based on only TradFi or institutional level trading transactions. And so the reality is, one of the best utility expansions today is in GameFi because there's so much potential. There is a lot of things that are not discovered. You can play with the concepts, you can invent, and you can kind of explore. So when we're talking about the raffle is a kind of a bridge between our gambling institutions that kind of use FUNToken and also the gaming. It's kind of our first step. And it's a way to just expand the utility. It's also a way to engage our community and to let them know that we're thinking about them, that we're thinking about the people that are the retail users of the token. And the same thing with the Telegram mini app. The Telegram right now is exploding in use. Mini apps in Telegram are a big deal. They're all casual games. They don't ask too much of the user, and yet they give you a way to engage with the project. So instead of, for example, using Zeely for a campaign, you're using something that the company itself has developed. And so that engages you on the brand and on the token and the utility. So that's really what it's about for us at the moment. Now, obviously, once we continue to grow and we start to launch our game browser, then it's about building the ecosystem. At that point, we can actually add our games all in a central place. We can add and help highlight our partners' products. Within FunHub, there's going to be a launchpad. There's going to be a lot of different elements that are useful, such as NFT marketplace, etc. And at that point, it all comes together. So the utility that we're diligently kind of working on and bringing the token kind of back into at the forefront of the retail public, then it becomes kind of the big deal, and we can add everything to FunHub and kind of make sure that everything is put together. So I would say these are the beginning steps of a development process that's going to lead us all the way up to the end of December, and then we'll see our MVP for FunHub come out.
Okay, thank you. So moving on, the topic I'd like to open right now is interoperability. Namely, how do your platforms approach asset portability across different games and ecosystems? What are some challenges you encounter in this respect? Who would like to start us off? Ante, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, I imagine this question is suitable for Infinity Games. Yeah. At this point, it will be good to announce that we today signed with SEI network, SEI ecosystem. Yeah, we are the owners of the SEI network grant, and we will be
nice one. Congrats.
Thanks. And we will be migrating our current collection of the game on the SEI. But of course, our future upcoming token will be launched on SEI network. So what does I have a lot of these questions when I'm speaking about this, that we are gonna go exclusively on SEI network. How does interoperability comes to that part? So basically, to best understand it, we see ourselves as a chain agnostic. I think that interoperability between chains is pretty much solved up till now. What we are focusing here is to achieve interoperability of in-game assets. So that at the end means that it doesn't matter on which chain your game is built. Is it on Solana? Is it on some other EVM compatible chain? It means that we are solving the interoperability on the digital asset level. So basically, to to explain it to users on the most efficient way, it can be achieved in this use case. In example, it doesn't need to be a game. It can be a perk from your community. If we are seeing that that you are owner of the compatible NFT or the partner's NFT, it's easy to delegate you some perks of that community, or in our case, from other game. It can be that you will gain an asset, a graphical asset, or let's say character or some artifact in that game if you are owner of that same asset in other game. That will be also one of the other examples.
Okay, thank you very much. So, David, would you like to proceed?
Sure. I mean, interoperability obviously is kind of it's a complicated question because so much of it has to do with the bridges that you use and with how easy they are to implement, with how permissionless they are. And obviously, I agree with Ante that there's a difference between just blockchain interoperability and interoperable in-game assets. This is a completely different ballgame because you're basically trying to create design that allows you to have assets from two different chains somehow seamlessly interact within the gameplay. So it's a very technologically intricate work. Kind of props to that. In terms of FUNToken, we are actually looking to cross-chain FUNToken. We're discussing this with many different chains. The main kind of questions that come up for us, as I mentioned, is the bridging. What bridges are used? How permissionless are they? How easy is it to implement? Because obviously, when you cross-chain, when you're there, you're already there. It's difficult to go back. So we want to make sure that we plan this well, and so we don't have issues. Ethereum itself is obviously very valuable. The problem with Ethereum is the gas fees and the speed. When you're starting to create casual games, it's very difficult to do the trading on it, or even just basic gameplay because of the speed. And while it works well for TradFi, it certainly does not work well enough for games. So this is why we are doing research right now, and we are thinking about it. And we will probably try to have a version of FUNToken on a new chain listed on a centralized exchange to give access to our community. We have already several liquid exchanges that are interested. So there are talks in progress, and we are very much working in it. When you're talking about FunHub, we're planning to make it chain agnostic, and the whole point is that FunHub as a game browser is kind of a, as Antti mentioned, it's Web 2.5. It's meant to be something that anybody from Web 2.0 can use and then transition into Web 3.0. That's why you have a storefront. Obviously using that, nobody wants to think about which chain that they want to use to transfer assets to. So the FunHub itself will be a chain agnostic, but with FUNToken, definitely there is a process happening to cross-chain it.
Okay, perfect. And now Clement.
Yes, I don't know if I have a lot more to add to what has been said by Ante and David, and I definitely agree with you also, David, that for us, so we're on Polygon, and for us, the main point is to integrate Web3 technologies as seamlessly as possible. So, and of course, interoperability and being cross-chain and being blockchain agnostic is very important. But at the moment, I would say our main not issue but objective is to create a fun game, to have a lot of players, and our goal is really to onboard mostly Web2 players, and then to integrate seamlessly Web3 technologies. So at this point, the question of interoperability has not yet been risen, but definitely in the future, if we see some, because what you said, of course, David, with the gas fees and the transaction, the how fast the network can handle transaction is very important in gaming, especially in casual games. So we monitor that very, very closely. But for now, it's not a question that we have really thought about much because we are focusing on creating a great game first.
Okay, thank you very much for all these responses. So moving on, I'd like to ask all of you about any upcoming milestones that you are able to share with us at this time. And of course, I mean, if you feel comfortable, if not, that would be fine too. So would anyone like to start?
Sure. Okay, I can start. So that's like clockwise and anti-clockwise. So yeah. So no, just for the milestone, yes, absolutely. We have absolutely a lot of exciting things to come. So first of all, we've been working on. So we have developed the first beta version of the game where we had 200,000 monthly active users on this game, and then we created from this game we created a new version of the game. 3 months ago, we did a lot of work on this game for the past 8 months, and we are going to do a first soft launch of the game by mid-October. And depending on the metrics, so retention metrics, mainly, we will do the hard launch coming up in the next few months. So this is absolutely exciting time because if we manage to have our good retention metrics. We know how to do acquisition, which is one of the main issue for casual gaming, but this is where we cracked a lot of different things because we have the acquisition cost that is 10 times lower than our direct competitor like Royal Match or Candy Crush, because we have people from their team, so we know their acquisition cost, and we have divided this cost by 10. So which is absolutely amazing. So we will do this hard launch in the next few months, and then integrating the token in game. And from there, sky is the limit because, of course, it's mathematics. The more player we'll have, the more they will use the token, buy the token, trade the token, and then the token value will, of course, as we all hope at MLP, will soar. So yeah, that's really our two main milestones, and a lot, of course, in the communication and marketing also coming right up because we are doing lots of videos, lots of marketing on social networks. So we have a Instagram's channel that is close to 1 million followers that we started 4 months ago. So full organic. So which is a great things also for the game, great things also for the token. So, and we are launching a YouTube channel also. So yeah, that's our milestone.
That sounds really great, actually. So David, would you like to continue?
Milestones. So for us, we just launched a raffle last Monday. We're working on the Telegram game. We're supposed to launch it on the 30th. We are a little bit delayed by some infrastructure issues, but hopefully not by too much. And we are actively developing the Fun Hub. It will include a launchpad, storefront, NFT marketplace. And I believe we have one NFT game that we also will roll out in October. Generally speaking, all of the development is on time. The up-to-date roadmap is on the website. And we're excited to increase the utility and engage with the community further. That's all for me.
Nice one. So
Telegram game.
Oh yeah, Martin.
Yeah, congrats to both on the milestones and upcoming milestones.
Likewise.
Where to start, man? I'm afraid that I will forget something. So last month was pretty much exciting for us with Elixir and GGM. And the next month, current month, will be even more fun. So our first milestone will be deploying on the SEI network. I'm assuming we will need around 10 days or 2 weeks tops, which our game will be fully migrated to the SEI network. Next bigger milestone during, I think, November will be officially launching of the NFT collection from the Infinity Heroes game, preferably on one of the launchers that supports SEI, which will all culminate, hopefully, if market conditions will be positive, with the token launch on SEI public launcher which supports C. Also, that will be followed with the release 1.0 release of the Infinity Heroes game. During that preparation, we are working on several different kinds of campaigns. It's a pleasure to be here with OGs like FUNToken. One of our program will be the ambassador program. In the ancient times, that was called bounties, and they were announced on the Bitcoin Talk org. So we will have one of like that campaigns where we want to extend ourselves to the broader network of the KOLs who are willing to support our token to our project. To commit to our project and support it. But also we are preparing a classical airdrop campaign on most popular community engagement platforms today, like Galaxy, Zili. Also, we are in good connections with Interact. I see them as promising. And what else? Yeah, and also we are planning our first, let's call it KOL campaigns, when we have onboarded different kinds of KOLs prominent in Web3 gaming to help us promote all of the upcoming activities. And that is also everything followed up with constant updates in the game. We have, in average, around two updates during a month, so be weekly. In the next update, we will have a new race included, and that's, and also probably in the same update will be the introduction of the same network.
Okay, so
nice. Just a quick reminder also, because we have 10 more minutes for this AMA. So of course, with the chat, if you have any questions for us, don't hesitate to ask the questions. So yeah.
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions if you have. I mean, you guys can interrupt us at any moment. So, but I mean, we are going to be moving forward if you don't. So the next question that I wanted to ask was, what strategies do the projects you guys represent use to educate traditional gamers about the benefits of Web3 gaming? And how effective would you say these strategies are when you face challenges of using these methods? Would anyone like to start?
Sure, I can go this time.
Okay, perfect.
So I think there's obviously a difficult part when combining Web2 and Web3 games, from the point of view that, in essence, Web3 games, the way it has been structured and created, to a large extent, involves trading, right? So when you put speculation into a game, and in essence, you create a situation where you're inserting a way to make money through playing the game, you could actually argue that it stops being a game, because at that point, what you have is is an investment vehicle, right? And so when you look at Web2 games, what makes them games is that they're played for fun, right? That's the whole point of the game. Now, the way that you can bridge that, in my opinion, is I don't think there's anything that we can do to necessarily change Web3 into a non-speculative sector, from the point of view that, okay, you can take away pay to play, but you still have the token. Maybe you can use the token for an airdrop. However, if you decrease the amount of utility of the token, you will have then a crisis in the community where you will be accused of basically creating a kind of a governance token, and that is not only unpopular, but also creates a tremendous amount of FUD. So you're always juggling these two aspects. I think one strategy that can be implemented, something that we thought about when we were building FunHub, is we wanted to create something where basically Web2 users could come to a platform, they could recognize it as a familiar format, and you could start basically onboarding them in that way. Then you can introduce the token aspect. You can have a launchpad. You can have Web3 tokens. You can create, give them access to spaces. And that kind of creates, this situation where you are quietly onboarding Web2 users, but you're giving them something valuable within their kind of sphere, but at the same time, you're keeping the Web3 component in place.
Okay, thank you very much for that response. So who'd like to continue? Ante, maybe you?
Yeah, sure, thanks.
Okay.
All points that David raised are valid points. One of the main reasons why we decided to create a Web3 game was that in the last cycle we have seen lots of snake oil sellers, lots of scam projects with only having tokenomics and not actual game. And I completely agree with David that if you are not properly introducing your token in the new in-game economy, which is completely new with the trading, decentralized trading, and that may be a very, very, very dangerous. Then your game is actually becoming a job and not a game. So in one of my previous answers, I told you that we wanted to create a game which is seamlessly not looking as a Web3 game. But we have limits. Those limits are the development of the technology. And what I'm seeing in the past couple of years, we have advanced not yet on that level, but we are approaching to that level where gamers, when players will be playing games not knowing that they are actually playing the blockchain game, but what matters to them is how to do the core things, which are for sure, what I also agree with David, this new possibility of trading, your decentralized trading of your in-game assets. I think that we are very, very close to that point with projects like Immutable and their Immutable Passport. So we are definitely reaching that stage. To be perfectly honest, I remember in 2018, it was practically impossible to create those kinds of projects we are creating right now. The transactions was expensive, was slow, and in my opinion, until the appearing of the layer 2 networks like Polygon, and also it was one of our first choices with Immutable to deploy. So to answer shortly your question, I think that the whole industry need to contribute, and it is contributing to the education that Web3 games are not only focused around the speculative value of in-game assets, but actually we are empowering gamers with the new possibility of actually owning the digital assets, which Web2 is seriously lacking of, practically non-existent.
Okay, thank you very much, Clement. Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. You can continue.
Yes, no problem. And I think we have 5 minutes left after this one, so we might have time for one last question. But just to answer quickly, but I think David and you said it all. Like it's for us, it's really like an onion layer. You come. The first thing you want to do, as you mentioned, David, is we really want to create a fun game. That's the really what we want to do. We are aiming at. So we have people from Candy Crush, we have people from Dream Games, which are the two biggest game of King and Dream Games, two biggest studios that are producing mature games. So this is the first genre that game that we are going to produce. So we want to create a fun game. That's the first thing. That's the basis for us of the success we want to have. And then we don't want. It's like an onion, like meaning like you come, you can play, it's free, you can do in-app purchase with fiat, but then at some point you will see, oh, but there is this thing that is called the My Lovely Coin. You don't necessarily know that it's a token. You don't need to know that it's web free, but you don't need to know that you're gonna have a wallet, seamless technology, like we will create a wallet for you. And then you can interact with this token. With this token, you see, I can win, I can earn some of this currency. And then you can, just follow the path and see, okay, I can access some specific gameplay. I can earn some competition with some token with competition, this currency. And then at some point you might see, but maybe I can sell it, I can transfer it, I can do some other things with that. I can use it for the environmental treasury and everything, but it's, it's an onion. You go deeper and deeper. So for us, it's really that strategy that we want to adopt. And at each point in the game, you can enjoy, you can have fun, you can have what you came for. And it's just if you want to enhance your experience, if you're interested in our mission, if you're interested in what we are doing, then you can go deeper and then you can discover new experiences.
Okay, thank you. So given the time is running kind of short on us, I'd like to proceed and ask, what advice would you give to developers and game studios looking to enter the Web3 gaming space at this time? Who'd like to start? Clemens, I think that you have something that
okay, absolutely. Great.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you, Marco. So no, an advice, I mean, I think focusing on the quality of the product. I mean, if you want to do a quick, if you want to do quick wins in Web3, you can do, with some marketing, you can do with some marketing with some KOLs. I mean, it's always possible to do those kind of things. But if you want to build something long term, I really think you have to focus on the quality of the product, and also you got to have a marketing approach also to see if there is a market fit. The play to earn. I don't know if there is still a huge market fit for that. For us, it's really the environmental mission, which we really believe in, but there are lots of different approach that you can have. So testing it, and focusing on the product, I would say. But I mean that would be general advice for anyone who wants to start a game or even a company. So, but I think those are two good advice.
Shall I go?
You can continue. David, can you please continue?
Yeah, technology is funny, but basically, I would say, from my point of view, what I'm seeing in terms of trends, I think what we really need to focus on at the moment is the crossroad between technology that is currently available and works, concepts that can work with that technology, where we bring up the value by adding the two, right? So I think one of the things that we're seeing in Web3 in general, not just in Web3 gaming, is that the phase of some sort of, kind of very esoteric concepts has gone. You know what I mean? We kind of had a metaverse phase, and we had various phases, and we tried to create technology now that doesn't yet exist, and then use it now when it actually is not available. So something like you have a kite, and you want to say that you will make international flights, but you can't, because it's a kite. It flies, but it doesn't mean that you can board it and fly it like a plane. And that's kind of what we've been doing in Web3. I think in the market, the way it has been, a lot of that has burned up, and in a way it's good. And so what we're doing is creating the game browser, because we know the concept of game browser works, because it's useful and valuable to people, to gamers, because we know that if you create a game browser and you add Web3 concepts, that it creates even more value, because you're infusing Web2 with what works on Web3. Some things like NFT marketplace or Launchpad, or and then you add streaming, and when you combine it all together, you have an interesting product. When you create casual games, you can use those games as a kind of a marketing device to draw people into the games. You can also give people some fun and allow them to reap rewards. But instead of using, let's say, pre-canned solutions like Zealy or Galaxy, you use your own solution, which is interesting for the community. So I think the approach is a realistic approach. You want to have a realistic approach when you build a product, because you want to make sure, as Clement mentioned, you want the market fit. And the only way you can have a market fit is if you have a technology that already works, but also that you're using the tools that you have in a realistic way.
Okay, thank you. Ante, would you like to share something with us?
Yeah, I will just say that Clement and David has some great and valid points. I can only share my experience, but what it is important to I think your question was to young developers. It is important for them to understand why are they doing and what are they doing, and why are going into something like this. Also, David mentioned some trends. I also agree with him on that. I can share my experience. 2.5 years ago, when we started working on our game, we have several developers coming from the classical Web2 environment. It was their first introduction to the Web3 development. If you remember, guys, at that time, it was such a huge opposition of the community, of the gaming community. But I would say it was also opposition because establishment guys has to be afraid of what is coming. But one of our developer didn't understand, they didn't realize why we are doing Web3 game. They were afraid of the backslash of the community, that every Web3 game is a scam project, only wanting to take your money to sell useful NFTs. But once they realized, once they were explained, what are we doing, what are we trying to achieve, and when they have seen such a huge traction that we have achieved in the past 2.5 years, I couldn't be proud more that we were able to achieve this. And for them to simply answer was to understand what are you doing and why are you doing it. If you understand that, if you set your goals appropriately, then I wouldn't be afraid for you. But they also need to realize that the whole market has matured significantly from the last cycle. Now, what is at most reasonable, VCs and partners and all the community wants to see a product from you. They doesn't want to see some promises. They want to see traction. So I would come back to what Clement say. The product is in the first place. Whatever you are doing, the product is in the first place. But in my opinion, perks from the Web3 architecture, we'll see. I'm also seeing the question from the audience. I envision it that most of the Web2 games will be forced to adopt Web3 technology simply because of that. Users will be getting better stuff. Simply as that.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'd say that right about now we kind of blew through our time frame. So we did have one community question that we might be able to address before we bring this one to an end. So BrainTease wanted to hear your opinion on the future of Web3 gaming. And what does basically, you can all see the question right now, but yeah, what do you think the future will be? And do you think that all games will be Web3 at one moment, or do you think that's not going to be the case?
I think, Ante, you already answered that, right? You said that, yeah.
I think it will be a combination. I think that a lot of Web2 games will realize that they need funding and community, and they will use Web3 stuff. And I think Web3 games will realize that the games need to look nice and be able to be competitive. And most likely there will be a fusion and some sort of consolidation in the market.
Yes, I agree with,
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that, David.
Well, with that, I think that we pretty much had one productive AMA session, and I'd like to thank everyone that joined us here today. Especially, I'd like to thank all three of you guys for answering all of the questions that I had for you. And well, I'm looking forward to meeting with you again, hopefully soon.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having been here with